Mama, we can't walk.
I will carry you.
Mama, we're cold.
Here is a cave.
Mama, we're hungry.
Welcome, I'm Karita Funk from True Voice Productions, and today I have the pleasure of interviewing Deontae Henderson, author of Mama Bear. Deontae, thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you for the opportunity to narrate this lovely little story.
Thanks for having me, and thank you for narrating it. You did a great job on it.
I appreciate that. Can you tell our audience a little bit about Mama Bear?
So Mama Bear is basically a book about a mom and her two bear cubs. And it's basically just as any mom would. She takes care of her two cubs their whole life as youth, as babies. And then there comes a time they grow up and then they have to go off into the real world, take care of their own self. And then they come back and they return the favor, and everything she did for them, they do for her and more. And that's pretty much just basically about my mom and then her raising her two sons, me and my brother, and just what we want to do as we grow older and just say thank you to her for doing all that she did.
Oh, that's wonderful. So what inspired you to write this book then?
Just my mom. I've written a bunch of other books, and I was like, I probably should write one about the person who made me who I get my creativity from. And it was just, I actually made it on my grandma's birthday. So it was like a gift to both of them. And it was just to
Nice.
say thank you for doing what you did and let her know that her hard work doesn't go unnoticed.
Wonderful. Oh, that touches my heart because I'm a mom. So who was your illustrator for Mama Bear?
It's actually a coworker of mine named Darius Grafton.
Yeah, I loved the childlike qualities to his work. That was very nice to see.
Yeah, I asked him to do that because that's how my first book, To the Top, was like that, and I did that intentionally. I wanted kids, when they read my books, I want them to kind of think like, oh, I can do this too. So that illustration and then the Mama Bear illustration, I wanted to look like a child kind of did it. So I asked them to use like pencils and crayons or whatever they could use to make it look like a child could do it. And like these artists can do way better things than that, but that's what I asked of them for them.
That's nice. That's nice. I think it helps form that connection with the kids because they're seeing the pencil lines. They know they can do this. Very nice touch. He did a wonderful job.
Thank you. I'll let them know.
Now, Mama Bear is your fifth book. You've also written To the Top, Young William, The Hungriest Pirate, and Kid Smooth. Now, there's one nonfiction book as well. The Smooth Smart?
Yeah, Smooth Start. So Smooth is like this. So my junior year of college, like 4 years ago, I think, I started making these rubber bands, these wristbands that I would like sell on the college campus for $2, and they say smooth, and it means steady moving on our visions every day. And then
nice.
so that was like because I've always said since like high school, be smooth. That was like my catchphrase. So I was like, I should make a thing out of this. And so I always put smooth on everything. And then when I started making books, two of my friends from high school were like, hey, we all did our own thing. I was making books. One was doing like e-commerce online, and another he was into like just tech stuff. So we said, hey, let's use what we got so far as entrepreneurship, and we just made a book together and then put it online. And it wasn't like we're not gurus, but it's what we were doing in college.
Right.
We were just give information to other college students or high school, whoever didn't know what they're doing, just wanted to start something like we did.
Nice. So can you tell me, with your children's fiction, is there an overall theme or message within your books?
Yes, besides Mama Bear, because that was pretty much a thank you letter to my mom. So besides that, all of my children's books are just motivation. It's like me pursuing dreams. No matter what I do, I've always been somebody who pursues dreams. So my theme for most of my stories will be pursuing a dream, and it's like getting to it a different way or overcoming an obstacle and just
being focused on getting to your dream, your goal, your vision. So my thing is dream catching is my theme.
Nice, very nice. Now, where do you get your ideas?
Are you asking about like the animals and like certain characters I choose?
Or what's your process for coming up with your next book? You know, where do your ideas come from and that spark to go, okay, this is the idea that I can put into this book?
Well, it's just like I guess it's at the moment of what I'm feeling. I have a bunch of stories, but it's all I take real life things, I take real life situations, and then I try to make it easy for a kid to understand. So I'll start with I'll use To the Top for an example. To the Top, it was at a time where I ran track at Tennessee State University. I ran Division I track, and I was like, okay. I was going to practice, and I was like, I don't think this is really going to work out for me as far as like an Olympian and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I came home during break, and then my brother, he plays basketball, he plays college basketball, and his goal was to, of course, be a professional basketball player. So at that time, he was in high school, and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I want to be great at something, but I need to know what I want to do. And I'm home, and my brother's going through, like, you know, having coaches and teachers say, hey, this basketball dream is far-fetched. This is ridiculous. And people telling me, you wanted to do this and that. That's ridiculous. That's not possible. So I took my anger, my frustrations on how people were telling us how we should live our life. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to write about this, but I'm not going to write a big book because I don't want to write a chapter book. I don't have the time or patience to do that just yet. So basically for To the Top, the turtle. So I come home and I'm reading a lot. I'm reading books, and I like to read. I feel like applied knowledge is power. So I want to, whatever I'm doing, if I don't know where I'm at in life, I'm going to read the book. My favorite is The Alchemist. It helps me out usually. So I was home reading. My mom said, you should write a book. You're always reading. I was like, yeah, she's right. But I'm not writing Harry Potter or anything like that. I need to make it nice and quick and simple so I can put it out now. And I just took all the frustrations and me and my brother were going through with people, you know, giving us doubts and saying what we can and can't do. And I took that. I was okay, how can I make this so children can feel this? And I was like, okay, let me think of a turtle. A turtle is an animal you don't expect much out of. And To the Top, it's this turtle named Cole, and his dream is to get to the top of the mountain. And that basically symbolized me getting to my dreams, me getting to my goals, you know, this top, the very top. And on his journey to the mountain, first he has to deal with some turtles, which are his family, of course, family, friends, his community, to a monkey, and then to an eagle, until he finally meets a goat, and the goat reassures him and says, hey, do you know where you are? And turtle's like, no, are you going to doubt me too? Just like the other animals. And the goat says, hey, you've made it to a place where you don't belong. And so basically, he sees all these animals, and the animals are just telling him, you don't belong here. You don't deserve to go to this place that you want to go to. And he ignores all of that, and he gets to his dream. And that just symbolized, that for me and my brother, ignoring people and doubters and any naysayers to get to where we want to get to in life. And I wanted other kids. I know all kids have a dream. There's going to be at least one person in their life that tells them, you probably can't do that. And I just wanted them to see that you got to keep ignoring those people and keep persisting with a positive attitude, and you'll get to what you want.
That reminds me when my oldest daughter was, I think maybe second grade. We used to go for walks at night. We were talking on our walk, and she finally said there was something she wanted to do. And I said, well, why do you sound so sad about it? And someone had told her she couldn't because she was a girl. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, there is 2 things you cannot do as a girl. 2 things only that I know right now. You cannot father a child, and you cannot write your name in the snow by peeing. And she, bright red, laughing at me because I'm the mom that embarrasses the kid. And she just laughed and let it go. And then we got home, and right before we went in, she goes, so what can a boy do? And I said, they can't give birth to a child. And I tell you, this is a little girl that's never let anything stop her from trying. And she figures things out, and it's just, so I relate to what you're saying and to what you have in that story, and that is definitely a message kids need to hear. So thank you for writing that. Can I ask you, what is your writing process like?
So like, what steps do I take into
Yes.
the complete? Yeah, well, me, I'll tell you exactly how I do it. So I get my I'll sit down, I'll have my thoughts will come to me. I'm a dreamer too. Like, I get weird things in my dreams when I go to sleep. So literally, like an actual dreamer. Like, I saw a turtle in my dream. Okay, that's the character I'll use.
Okay.
So I'll get weird dreams, and then I write them down in a notebook. So it starts there, and then something will happen. Like, let's say someone let's say I see an athlete or like a boxer or something. I see a boxer, like, he'll come back from a knockout and win the fight. I'll be, okay, I like that. And then I'll think of an animal I can use to symbolize something like that, and then not giving up and getting back. And then, for example, I'll probably use a kangaroo defeating an elephant, something like ridiculous, and an elephant knocking him down, him getting back up. And that's just me seeing that. So I'll take what I want to do. I'll get a notebook, and I'll write it down. I'll just say, like, okay, the elephant punches him down, he gets back up, he says comments, he jokes, he does this, he does that. I jot down the idea initially. Then I'll turn on some jazz music, and I just let it flow, and then I'll sit there, and I try to all my children's books I try to get done in like a day, like a few hours. I turn the phone off, I have nothing but music playing, and I just sit there, and then I try to take the thoughts and turn it into a story. And then after the story's done, I'll find an illustrator, and then I'll relay that to them. I usually let the illustrator. Yeah, so the illustrators, I mean, they know how to draw. They've been doing this. So I just tell them, I give them my vision, and I say, go ahead, do what you please. Just make sure, like I say, I want a kangaroo. Make sure it's a kangaroo, and then I like different colors. So I'll make them a blue kangaroo, and then okay. And then I'll look it over. They'll send it to me. I'll give them the okay, yes or no. And then I went online. For the first time I wrote a book, I just went online. How do I self-publish? I found it online, and then I just took that work and I did it. I mean, the internet is it's like it's available to, like, give you any answer to any question. That's pretty much my process. I come up with the idea, write it, get focused, just narrow in. I don't stop until it's completed. If I am confused about it, I'll take probably a day or two, take a break, come back, and then I find an illustrator, and then I got to put it out.
So I'm going to jump back to Mama Bear for a minute.
Okay.
Now, we had the opportunity to work together and turn Mama Bear into an audiobook. Is this your first audiobook?
Yes, this will be my first audio.
And what about the audiobook format appeals to you?
So I chose to do audiobook because I realized the society we live in, people don't like to read. They don't like to read, or what I figure out for myself is being like an unknown author. I'm not Dr. Seuss or J.K. Rowling. I mean, I have some people who support myself who I appreciate, but I was like, how can I get this out to the world? And are more out to the world than I already have. And I realized audio is the thing that's in right now, audio and video. So a lot of times people who don't like to read books, they'll buy audio books. They'll drive in there at a reasonable price. There's no reason for them to say no to, as opposed to them seeing me trying to sell them my physical book. They're like, I don't know who you are. I don't know what this is. They don't really want to give it a chance then. But people are they're willing to click a button than spend more money on a physical copy or a Kindle or a book. Like, they want to listen. And if I can get that out there that way, I want to do that. And then as far as being able to work with you, I need the right person for each story whose voice does exactly what I need and sounds like this character and is going to be appealing, if that helps answer your question.
Thank you for the opportunity to narrate it. It was a lot of fun. I typically narrate nonfiction books because that's what I like to read. And I'm always selecting projects that I would like to read. I have an affinity for children's literature and children's books. And I'm also an illustrator. I have created children's books for my kids and then my grandkids. What I like about being a narrator for a children's book is it takes me out of that nonfiction narrator business topic and lets me play. It lets me become the kid and become a voice. And I always look at projects that I would like to present to my grandkids. So
I'm glad I was able to make that connection for you.
it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. For many authors, illustrators, and narrators that I know, the creation process is the exciting part. To be successful in literary fields, it does take a lot more, and that can be a lot of work. Can you talk about the process of getting published and how you approach marketing of your work?
But before I do that, I want to say also, for choosing you to do the book, I had like a list of a lot of people like they're sending in their auditions, and I didn't actually choose you. My mom chose you. She said, "Yep, that's it." So,
well, thank you, Mom.
I loved it when I heard it, but she was like, "Yep, that's it." I was like, "Mom, this is the one I want to choose," and she's like, "Yep, that's her." And I was like, "Okay." So my mom gave you the thumbs up. Like your voice, she was almost in tears. Like, she's gonna make me cry. She loved like your voice. And I was like, okay, if she can get my mom's heart, I know she can get to the kids.
Awesome. Well, thank you. That's very sweet. Very sweet.
And no problem. So as far as publishing, so like I said, so my first one I searched it. You can just search self-publishing on Google, and what I did, there's self-publishing companies. So you find a company. It allows you to, but make sure that the self-publishing company that you're using, for those listening, is one that allows you to keep your rights, allows you to be in control, keep your rights of the work, and all they're doing is distributing, and you're just giving them a price up front. And that's the first method I use. And you give them a price up front, you own everything, and they'll get a piece. Some companies, they don't, because I've done it with different companies. Some will get a piece and some won't, and they'll just take a lot of upfront money. It might be a few thousand, might be a few hundred, depending on how you're going to get your book out there. How you're going to get your book out there as, okay, if I put it on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, it'll be this much. If I add these websites, it'll be this much. If I take away these, it'll be this much. If I do hardcover, if I do paperback, so that's where the price varies. So you choose your self-publishing company, and then once you get it through to them, they approve it, they edit it. Make sure they also do editing as far as what is it called? Your grammar. Make sure they do the grammar and the spelling and all that, because some companies won't do that, and then you'll put it out there, and then people will complain about stuff like that. But I make sure that I use my resources, and I have friends who like to read, and they're English teachers. So I'm like, hey, can you check this first before I even give it to the company? So so once you get it there, on those major platforms, make sure you reach out to those major platforms, because to them you're just another number. And I realized that early on. It's like, so many people write books. How can I make sure that people actually see it and care? So I'll reach out to a Barnes and Noble and say, hey, my book is on your website, but it's not in your physical store. How can I get in your physical store? And they say, oh, that's easy. What's the ISBN number? That's the most important thing. What they can do is they can get your book that's online. They'll take it and bring it in their store, and they'll probably put, because with these self-publishing companies, they'll do what's called print on demand. So there'll only be a few books. Because they'll print it, like the publishing company will print it, send it to Barnes and Noble. And then if Barnes & Noble says, hey, we have 50 of your books in our store, no one's buying it, they can send them back to your publishing company. So it's not going to ever be like a huge number. But since you have it on their website, you can ask them, hey, I want to send it to your store, and I'd like to come in and do a signing. And a lot of the times they'll say yes. They may say no, but like me, I'm like my turtle. I don't stop until I get what I want. So I'll like email, and I'll come in and meet them and greet them, and then I usually get them to say yes. But that's how you get it to the market, I guess. And as far as my marketing and promotion, I have somewhat of a following that for the promotion as far as marketing and getting it in front of eyes. I just took advantage of my social media since I like I said, I played sports and I had, somewhat of a following on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook. That's how I first got started. And then when I first did it, it was like new. No one knew I was writing a book. I just moved in silence. So when I finally put it out there, everyone was like, whoa, it was the wow factor. That's when I'll go get on a podcast, or I have friends who are at radio station. I was able to go do that. At my school, I was a mass communications major, so I was able to go on the school radio, and then they were able to get me in the paper. And then so now when I do this, I kind of have that established. I just throw it on Instagram and Facebook, Twitter, and I also pay for the marketing on those websites. So like you can pay like $10 on Instagram, and it'll reach a bunch of people. Promotion team or anything. I have word of mouth, and then I try to make my stuff so good that people want to spread it.
That's great. That's great. So what's next for you?
I was recently in China. I was out there. I was just traveling around China, and I was helping coach some basketball out there. So since the virus thing is over, I'm here now. So I've had a lot of time to read and write. So I've just got a bunch of stories. I'm just trying to get out as much as I can, and it would be nice to be a full-time author. So if I can make that happen somehow, some way, that's what I'm trying to take advantage of this time with and do that.
Well, that's going to conclude our time today. And Deontae, I want to thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Audience, you can follow Deontae's work on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, as well as his podcasts. So listeners, go get your copy of Mama Bear from Audible. It's a great story of gratitude, the mother-child bond, and how simple acts of love are the greatest gift of all. Buy it today and send it to your mom. It's going to make a great Mother's Day present. Have a good day.